Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Johnny Mac 365. Let me see. Johnny Mac 365 just wanted to come in and wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. I know I was set to come on earlier, but some things came on. Hey, Joyce. Good morning, tribe. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Did you get my message I sent you? I sent you a message. I don't remember if it was Joyce Vlogs email, but I sent that message to you because after meditation, that dropped in my spirit. And as it dropped in my spirit, I saw you stand before me. All right, you stood before me. And that was a word that, dropped in my spirit. So, and because you stood before me, I wanted to share it with you. And I hope that it was a blessing to you as much as it was a blessing to me. And the crazy thing about it was after I had sent the email, I still had a weight from that word on me. And then I got a call. And as the person was talking to me, that word came back to me. And when I told them that, when I gave them that word, they burst into tears. And hey, Pastor Stephen McNeil Lennon, good morning. It's good to see you. And so when I gave the person that word, she broke down and she says, I was just got off the phone with somebody else and I was trying my best to get an answer, to get a word that would soothe what I was going through. And she said, this was the word. Now I'm ready to do what the word says. And after that, after I hung up the phone, I felt as light as a feather. So I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that it was a blessing. And how are you, Pastor McNeil? Pastor McNeil Lennon. It's good to see you. I'm just on here to wish everybody a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Oh no, what you did was very much in line, or I felt from what I saw, was still in line with what that word was. It does not mean studying the course and maintaining the vision does not mean letting people know to get off my foot. Okay, so there are times when you have to tell people, look, back up off of me, especially when I'm not coming for you. So you were able to say what you needed to say, steadying the course and maintaining the vision because you didn't lose sight of the vision and you didn't get off course by doing what you did. So I applaud you. I really applaud you. Okay, Pastor Lennon, I'll on my email. Okay, let me put it in. Of course, I do this wrong every time. Okay, there's my email. Um, Pastor Lennon, there's my email. Hi, Donna Hill. Oh, same to you. Happy Thanksgiving, Donna Hill. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the festivities. All right, who's cooking? Anybody cooking? I didn't have to cook this year. Usually, oh, you're welcome, Pastor. Usually, um, I will do some of the cooking, especially if I'm going to my daughter's. I will mostly cook here because my daughter has this relationship with her kitchen. Oh, that's funny. She has a certain relationship with her kitchen, and it's kind of, even though I have cooked in her, she has a wonderful um, gourmet kitchen, and I love cooking in it, but I don't like to cook too often, especially in somebody else's kitchen. But usually I'll make cakes and pies, and I may do a turkey or, you know, do something. But this year, I am staying home this year, and I'm going to spend a little time with myself. Hey, Francois Love. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. I've been observing because trying to say too much at one time. Oh, no, it's no disappointment. I'm not disappointed. Joyce, I'm not disappointed at all. We have to give ourselves room to be human. Um, just because you have a relationship with God and um, people, because we feel that people expect stuff from us and we want to live up to their expectations, we feel that we have to sometimes be a doormat that people can just, wipe their feet with. But no, that's not the case. That is not the case. You have every right. You have every right to stand up for yourself, no matter who it is, whether the individual likes it or not. Especially because you're an army vet. Just imagine being in battle and you thinking of what someone else expectation of you might be, and then you don't fight. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to allow people, just because we love God and because we have a relationship, we're not going to allow people to do anything they want to do. There comes a time for a confrontation, and there are several instances in the Bible where David was a man of war. David was actually a man of war. Even his first encounters were with the lion and the bear when he was herding the sheep, father's house. And then all after that with Goliath, he didn't. And the reason why he was fighting, that he fought Goliath, was because Goliath had insulted the God that he served. So there is a time that we're supposed to fight. We are supposed to be offensive as well as defensive. So don't let anybody make you believe that you have to be a punching bag or a welcome mat for anybody, because that's not the case. There are times when, yes, you have to confront. You have to confront the negative to let people know, listen, I'm not going to stand for your negativity infecting and infesting my life. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, and some of us who have watched and had certain experiences from the sidelines, or who were not um, intimately involved with the situation, but was able to see what was going on. We understand. we understand. We understand. There is a time to hold your peace, but when it's time to get out there and do what you got to do, go for it. Go for it. Not only do you have my support, but you got my blessing. Because you don't let nobody come into your house and run your house. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So yes, it is good to see everybody. And I know I was supposed to do Wednesdays is usually my Wednesday word day, but because I know a lot of people would be doing a lot of cooking and running around doing last minute, I sort of felt like if I, didn't come on, it wouldn't be too bad. So I'm coming on in the wee hours. Actually, this is also, um, and let me say thank you. Hey, Deborah Brooks, good morning. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving to you. Um, this is actually part of another test that I'm doing because of to the content. I mean, to the content creators and to a lot of the subbies, both the new subbies, the day ones, and all. People have been cash apping me and super chatting me, and I appreciate it. And what I do with it is I reinvest it in the equipment. So I'm doing some new equipment, um, and I hadn't really had a chance to really test it out. So tonight I came on, and I'm noticing that there was a yellow haze, when I would come on. And with the new camera that I bought, I'm seeing that, well, at least in the reflection on the screen, I don't see the haze. So that's a plus. Good morning, Mysterious Mermaid, and happy Thanksgiving to you. Robin the Voice, happy Thanksgiving. Much love to you as well, my dear. Much love. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of us have been watching and experiencing a lot of the things with you, Joy. So we support you. We're very impressed with the things that you're doing, over there at Joyce Vlog Circle, the HBCUs and all that. Um, I am really proud and very motivated. As a matter of fact, a couple of times I'm like, I wonder what do they have? What kind of program do they have for adults that want to go back to school totally? I mean, do the on-campus school, at an older age. I would like to see what that's about. So Joyce, if you get a chance, the next one, if you would ask that question for me, I would appreciate it. Because I may just apply. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just may apply and try to, go away to school. Do it all over again. Wow. Uh, yeah. So, is everybody cooking? Joyce, did you cook or nobody cooked? Well, y'all as good as me. you know, um, exactly. Exactly, Joyce. And I get it. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm a firm believer of it's not so much of when you get it done or when you do it, as long as you start it and complete it, it's a wonderful thing. Okay, Francois Love, what are you cooking? What all are you doing for cooking for your Thanksgiving meal? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that, Joyce. Okay. Joyce, are you taking your vitamins, my dear? Because when we get in our early 30s, we have to start taking our vitamins. Those early 30s will get you. Oh, Francois, you're cooking everything. Wow. I haven't done a full um, Thanksgiving meal in a long time. Oh, okay, Mysterious Mermaid, you're cooking for Christmas. Okay, everybody, going down to we're going to meet up with Mysterious Mermaid for Christmas because she's cooking. Riri Carter, good evening, good morning. Blessed Thanksgiving to you and everyone. And same to you. Same to you. Yes, yes. Yeah, Joyce, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Oh, it's from your asthma. Oh, you need a steroid shot. I don't know. I every time I think of steroid shots, oof. Oh man. Well, no, and this is no reflection on anybody, but when I think of steroid shots, I always think of getting bigger. And when I think of bigger, and I'm talking about me, I'm always a little afraid of my legs running together, rubbing together. And if I have to run, starting a fire and stuff like that, it's just crazy. Y'all get to see this time I'm on a different side of me. Legs rubbing together and starting a fire. Oh my gosh, I couldn't deal with it. You know, all of a sudden you see all these fire trucks coming to put out the fire because I had to run. But anyway, um, yeah, I think when I think of steroids, I think of getting bigger. And ooh, I have been. Well, no, I'm not going to tell y'all that. uh, yeah, Riri Carter, it's really good to see you. Really, really good to see you. It's good to see all of you. I've been taking somewhat of a sabbatical because of some of the things that I've been seeing, some of the behaviors. Um, and I thought about that show that used to come on when I was a kid, called Flipper, and how so many people are like flipping like crazy. I know you don't really know these people on here, um, but it's amazing how they project this image of being very, very strong. And then you see them totally like flip, people whispering things in their ears and planting little seeds of discord. And I'm concerned about people who talk too much about discernment and really don't know what discernment is. They have no clue whatsoever of what discernment is. And I had said this not too long ago. Discernment is spiritual. It is the God voice within us that it's that little voice that also helps you to see certain things that are incongruent. And so often people ignore it to the point of where um, they just don't hear and don't see. But these are the same people that push the narrative of having discernment, but cannot see what's taking place right in their eyes. And it is amazing to me. It is amazing to me. I mean, and again, I have to say this. I have to say this because so often, people get caught up in being disappointed with the behaviors of other people. Uh, but in reiteration, if you have no unreal expectations of people, you will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. And there is so much room to adjust and adapt. You leave yourself a lot of room to adjust and adapt to whatever the situation is that's going on. When a person finally, you see that they are not who they portrayed themselves to be. Now, I'm one for taking your word for whatever you say you are. I take your word for it. However, trust but verify. And how I verify is just observing your behavior and what you say. And if they don't line up, then they don't line up. Yeah, and I get that. I do understand, Joyce. Yeah. And again, it doesn't matter when you get there as long as you get there. And everybody has to uh, see things for themselves. As much as sometimes you'd like to open their head and put it in, or, peel their eyes back and, uh, scrub the residue off the lens of the eye where they can see clearly, you can't. So you begin to learn through those instances, you learn patience, and you just, you wait and you be there when that person finds out that the people that they are connected to that aren't um, that don't have their best interest at heart. And then, I'm observing these people that have a problem with people, or they have a problem with letting go of people that decide to change their direction. And it is, well, JL87 Productions. Good evening. Happy Thanksgiving. Long time no see. It's good to see you. People that have a hard time letting go, everyone has a right to make their decision to go their own way and to do what is best for them. And it is important. Um, it is important that you give people room, because most of the time we want room ourselves. We don't want to be judged by or penalized for making a decision that does not include you in going in the same direction. Two cannot walk together except they agree. So when we stop agreeing, when our directions are not the same, then it is time for us to part. And it does not mean that I have to fight with you in order for you to go your own way, or in order for me to go. We shouldn't have to fight. We shouldn't have to fight. Yes, but here's the reason why a lot of content creators are losing it. Number one, it has to do with honesty. It has to do with being authentic. It has to do, I think I did say honesty. Um, when, and being true to yourself. Um, one of the things that I promised myself, and there are people that keep me in check. What I present to you is who I am. It is who I am. Yes, I'm human. Yes, I am fallible. Yes, I have flaws. Uh, Yet, for the most part, I am who I say that I am. And I don't just say that I am, I show who I am. My word and my behavior has been congruent from day one. When I don't agree with something, I don't agree with it. I'm not one for going back and forth unless I actually have to. But the place in my life that I have nothing to prove to anybody about who I am and what I have achieved. My struggle speaks for itself. My accomplishments speak for themselves. And I don't have to boast. I don't have to continue redundantly say that this is what I've accomplished and this is who I am and this is what I've done. There's no need to. I'm totally comfortable where I am. And anything that I'm not comfortable with, I'm not dealing with it on YouTube. I'm dealing with it within myself. I mean, that's how uh, that's my practice. So I'm able to um, maintain, and I'm able to be the same person. You know, hey Donna Jean, it is very good to see you, and happy Thanksgiving to you. Oh, thank you for stopping by and showing me love. Thank you. Maturish is in the building. Good morning, Maturish. Deborah Brooks. Thank you so much. Yeah, we deal with it in private. Everything is not for human consumption, and I've heard that recently too. Everything is not for human consumption, and if we're not willing to deal with the backlash of putting things on YouTube, we should think twice. Well, think thrice. Think, rethink, and then think about it again. Because if you can't handle the backlash, rebuttal, or the opinions of other people, or the perspectives of other people, then there are just some things you need to keep to yourself. Now, yeah, I am comfortably and authentically me. You're right, Maturish. Hey, Rainy D, good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you. And I am totally aghast with this narrative, if you will, or this plot for people, that are saying other people want to control their um, their platform. And a lot of the people that are saying this are so blinded that they don't realize that some of the actions that they have taken in front of the camera have led me to believe that the very ones that are controlling their platforms are not the ones that they are blaming or take over their channel. It is amazing when you just sit back and observe. You observe the behaviors, you observe the thought patterns. The other week, I spoke about strongholds. Strongholds are thought patterns that become so powerful in the mind that you have no power over them. You lose your power to think, to critically think. They totally shut down the ability to critically think. So all you're thinking is through these strongholds, which exalts themselves against the knowledge of God, the knowledge of what's right, the knowledge of fairness, the knowledge of sanity. Anytime a person can make you, and I know some people may get upset and may come at me for this, but I'm grown, I can handle it. But let me just speak from me. There is nobody on YouTube or even in hell that can come on here and say something about my dead father, put pictures of my dead father or what have you, and cause me to bring my father's obituary and put it on YouTube. That is someone controlling your platform. When you allow a person to make you feel like you have to debunk a lie, that is control. They are controlling you. And if they're controlling you, they're controlling your platform. A very wise person told me that if someone does that to them, what they would do is tell them, prove it. Okay, that's my spouse, prove it. That's my deceased family member, prove it. I did that, prove it. I live there, you say I live there, prove it. So the very people that you are warring against nonstop, continuously, you have left all your creativity. You've put it aside, you've taken it off, and you're no longer thinking creatively. But now what you're doing is you're on the defensive about everything, and you've got to prove that those people are wrong. So those people are continually talking and manipulating you and puppeteering you, pulling your strings, which means, bottom line is, your platform has been controlled by other people, but you don't see it. You don't see it. And I have spoken many times about people who have eyes and don't see, ears and don't hear. You know, it gets my goat when you have people that support you and people that are standing with you, that when they give you wise counsel, you shun them, you turn on them, and you say that, oh, you're trying to run my platform. When there's so many other components of people's lives that they have to take care of every day. Running your platform would not be a pleasure. It would not be a feather in anyone's cap. It is not an asset. It's not like um it's not like Fox taking over Disney. There's nothing in it. I'm not getting anything for running your platform. But we don't think. We don't step back. And here's another thing in observation. You cannot, you cannot, I'm going to say it again. You cannot fight with everyone at the same time. You can't you're waging war with everybody. Everybody, anybody can get it. I understand the concept and the principle of everybody can get it, but you don't want to try to give it to everybody at the same time because you're wearing yourself out. And it's just a matter of time before you crash. And when I say crash, I mean through exhaustion, mental breakdown, and just plain flip the script, and you are now institutionalized for a long length of time because you cannot carry all that in you and it not affect you. Alicia Clark, good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you. It is amazing. It is amazing. And here's another, and I'm not talking about anybody. This is just my observation. We have a bona fide racist on YouTube that is attacking certain individuals, writing certain individuals, harassing certain individuals to no end. In observation, I'm asking the question, since it has been proven that the individual is a racist, has a picture and an address on a swastika, how you are fighting that and everybody at the same time. Where are your priorities? What is the most important thing? That's my question, that in observation I'm asking myself, what is most important? Where do my priority lie? Does it lie in waging a war on everyone? Because what this individual is sitting back and doing, and I've heard some of the things he has said concerning certain individuals, and they are behaving the exact way as he has said that they are. Black people can't come together. Black people are really not smart. They're all about fighting one another. They can't come together. It really, in 2019, or should I say, at the end of 2019, going into 2020, when do we wake up? When do we recognize what time it is? I don't care who. All right, I'm going to use a name. Well, an individual. Oh, Sean Bradley, welcome. Good evening. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. If I had driven down to my daughter's, I might have tried to holler at you and come by and wave at you, because she's in the DMV area. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. It's just amazing. It is just amazing when you sit back and you just observe. You watch these people prove what people are saying about them. Now, I don't get along with everyone on YouTube. I don't fight with the people I don't get along with, because you see, I'm not demanding respect from anyone if I'm not respecting myself. I cannot. I set the standard. I set the boundaries. So if I'm disrespecting myself, what choice do other people, even if people want to respect me, it is difficult for you to respect me if I don't respect myself. If I'm fighting with everyone, how is anyone going to not want to fight with me? Everybody's going to want their turn. The clout chasers, and you can tell the clout chasers because the clout chasers that come into this sector, if you will, they don't necessarily gain clout by getting close to you, as much as getting close to you is a ploy to open an opportunity to have some kind of negative encounter to boost up their numbers. Just an observation. Just waiting for the opportunity to come at you for something that is so insignificant and unnecessary to try to prove a point. Everybody's looking at it from the standpoint of this individual did the wrong thing, or that you went off on, that you're supposed to be close to. And the next thing you know, you notice that their chat goes from 20 people, from 15 people to 235 people in their chat. And I've noticed this in several different situations with individuals on here. And it'll do that for a couple of days, and then it wanes right back down because all the hoopla, the shiny object is no longer shiny. It becomes old news quick. Now, let me say this. The situation between myself and another individual on YouTube, it was not for clout chasing. It was not to get my numbers up. It was an authentic disappreciation for a behavior that I felt was inappropriate, out of time, out of place. And I voiced as, and I said this in those videos, as an older brother, a person of maturity, a person that has come through where certain individuals are now coming through. And position that you claim to have, that this is inappropriate for drawing people, because the bottom line for me is not to draw you to Johnny Mac. It is to encourage you and to give you the tools to have a better relationship with the Creator. So that you can improve your outlook and your life experience. That's what it's all about with me. Listen, there is a song that says, if I can help somebody as I travel along, if I can cheer somebody with a kind word or song, if I can let a brother or sister know that he is traveling wrong, then my living is not in vain. And it's all about the purpose in which we were created. We were not created not to help one another, not to pull one another's coattail, not to encourage one another, not to share with one another. We were created differently as individuals, but individuals who come together and we all grow together. I did a Wednesday word called team. Together, each achieves more. When we work together, we get more done as a team and as individuals. Good morning, Pink Ice, and welcome, welcome. It is about working together. It is about extending a hand to one another, not looking down at each other. but seeing in each other where we can be a help to one another, where we can strengthen, because where I'm weak, you may be strong, and coming together, we strengthen each other where we're weak. And we all grow together. We all become successful together. We all create a positive, motivating, encouraging, inspiring legacy together, because it is all about legacy. Yeah, some people say my children or my grandchildren will never see this, but other people's children and other people's grandchildren will see this. What will that do for them? Will that help them, or will that hurt them? Will that cause them to think positively and to out their I don't want to say deficiencies, or work out their shortcomings? Or does it reinforce a way of thinking that ultimately is going to leave them destitute, unfulfilled, unsatisfied, angry, bitter? Oh, definitely. But see, discernment, that's where discernment comes in. And that's the flip side. The flip side is you have to discern who to help, because there are some people that that are scammers. We use that word, and manipulators, and people that always looking to take. There are a lot of takers in this world. And when you are a giver, when you are a sharer, uh, when you are a person that your gifts are strengthening people, people will behave in a way to manipulate you to give them, and to give them until you've given out. So yes, you have to know who to help. You have to be able to see that, to discern it. And I believe in giving people a fair chance. It's something we were talking about early today. We were talking about forgiving and forgetting. And so often we look at that saying and we get this good feeling inside. Yes, I'll forgive and forget. No, you should never forgive and forget. You should forgive, but never forget. You can never forget the experience that you experienced. However, when we forgive, what we do is, and we discussed it as, if, again, you will never forget that experience, but being open to putting your cards on the table and being vulnerable, you're able to move past it. But you should never forget it, because it is a testimony and it is a learning experience. Two things you learn or you should learn and take from every experience: what to do and what not to do. What to do and what not to do with each individual that you meet. And also, there are always signs. So often, and this is one of the grievances that I had with being brought up in the church and being a pastor's a son. I always had the issue when it came to forgiving and forgetting, because it was implied that you forgive and you forget it as if it's fresh and new, and you open yourself up for that person to do the same thing to you again. No, no, mm-mm. No. Once that trust is broken, once that trust is not reciprocated, I'm going to trust you to stay over there, and I'm going to trust me to stay over here. And see, I trust me more. I trust me more to stay over here. And may the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Because if I think about it and I catch you, I might have to, So it's better for me to trust myself over here and just trust you and keep you at a distance. But again, we are not called. We are not called. I'm going to say it again. We are not called to be welcome mats because we have a relationship with the Creator. He never said to lay down and let people walk on you. And he never said that you have to submit to abuse. And that's where so many of our ministers in the word become disconnected. Because if you keep mistreating a dog, that dog is going to bite you after a while because he's going to get tired of being mistreated. So before you get to that point, you have to work on your spirit of discernment and know them that labor among you. That's a very important fact that we need to start taking in and putting into our spirit, knowing the spirit of those who labor among us. And again, being able to deserve how they move in accordance with their word. Because a person can tell you anything, but they show you who they really are. They show you who they really are. And I can't believe that I just came on to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and to, test some of the new equipment. And I've been on here an hour, but I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself with all of you and Mr. Sean Bradley. And I know you don't like to be shouted out like that, but I appreciate you dropping down and saying hello and the super chat. I really appreciate it. But that's where I'm coming from. The observations that I see, I just sit back and observe. And it's one thing too, and I'm going to say this. Listen, warning will always come before destruction. There are always signs when relationships are about to change. There are always signs. And I'm going to go ahead and reveal this about myself. In any relationship that I have ever been in, no, I won't say that one, but I have always been able to discern whatever, whenever my partner's attention was focused somewhere else, on someone else. And I said that to say this: anytime you are connected with a person, whether it's platonically in a friendship, intimate friendship, relationship, whatever, when your partner, when that friend or what have you, their focus changes, their alliance changes, there are always loud clues that are always happening. And so often, a lot of us get caught up because either we deny them, because a lot of us, we, we're like, we're like the queen. We just ride up and down on denial all day, all month, all year long. We deny everything. And then we say, oh, I had no idea. I had no clue. The devil is a lie straight from the pit of hell. You know when your husband is stepping out on you. You know when your wife is stepping out on you. You know when your friends are not loyal. You know when they're not loyal because you can feel it, or you ought to be able to. I didn't know you felt that way. Yes, I knew you felt that way because I saw the change. Wherein you used to look me directly in the eye when we had conversation, you're looking away, or you're looking up to the left, trying to remember the lie you told. And that's another thing. And I said this earlier. Hey, Mo, it's good to see you. Welcome, welcome, and happy Thanksgiving to you. We act like we don't see it. We carry on like we don't see it, but you see it and you feel it because of that connection. So there are always signs, there are always clues to something. Some people call it slick shade. Okay. When a person is tired of you, so to speak, and they're not honest, let's be more vocal about how we feel. One of the things I shared with my daughter and her husband early in their marriage is the importance of communication. The importance of communication, regardless of how it feels in the moment. And now it's all about doing things in decency and in order, being respectful, not deliberately trying to hurt anyone. But it's about letting a person know how you feel, letting a person know what you think about in this particular situation. It may hurt a person's feelings. However, after the initial feeling and you think about it, it was well worth it because now we come away with a stronger bond. We come away with being able to be more honest with each other. For Shay G, good evening and Happy Thanksgiving and welcome. It's good to see you as well. We come away with a better understanding and a stronger bond. This is one of the main ways that people's marriages are sustained. Often I hear people say, "Oh, I can't wait. I would like to have a marriage as long as yours." However, you don't want to put in the work. It takes work. It takes work. It takes even sometimes failing at it to learn how to open your ears and hear without having your feelings attached to the point where you feel that this individual is attacking who you are. When I say to an individual, yo, stand down, keep your peace, hold your peace. Number one is not to control you, but it's for you to take a moment to observe and to make a decision on whether it is worth being hurt, worth reacting to the hurt in the moment, or beginning to understand both about yourself and about the other person. Is this relationship worth it? And how bad are my feelings hurt in a point of communication? Is this a superficial wound? Or did this, what they told me, or how they felt, or not even how they felt as much as what they experienced? Mostly, we confuse our experience with our feelings, and that's where we get in trouble. This is what I experienced in that moment. This is how that experience made me feel. Now, the question is, do I work through it? Do I take it as a learning tool, as a teaching tool? Or do I just behave like a bull in the china shop? Which one is worth more? Is this bump in the road going to strengthen my relationship? Is it going to bring me more respect to the people, from the people around me, because I handle it in a way that shows people who I really am? Or am I going to fly off the handle? Am I going to break up all the china in the china shop, and at the end of it, everybody's affected? And then here's an experience I had recently, very recently. I have been going into other sectors of YouTube because I wanted to experience something different. And there was a YouTuber, very small YouTuber, that I came across that does great commentary. This individual does great commentary. And it's not because I agree, or not because he's saying what I'm saying, or he's saying what my friend is saying, but He's authentically giving commentary from his, perspective, from his experiences, from um, uh, from what he has been taught. And it was amazing to hear this gentleman um, do his commentary. It was amazing. However, this is the point. The point is, the things we do on YouTube, we never know who we are affecting that's not right in our faces, that may be in other sectors, that may be looking for encouragement and looking for strength, and then they see negative behaviors that are normalized, and they become confused, discouraged, disgusted, and rather than have a relationship with God, they say, if these people who say they represent God behave like this, they tell lies, they sow seeds of discord amongst the brethren, they say they are a spokesman for God, and the only thing that comes out their mouth are straight from the mouth of Satan himself. They become withdrawn. They don't want to hear you talk about God. They don't want to hear you talk about relationships. If you're doing this with these titles that people give themselves in relationship, or these godly titles that they give themselves, why would I want to be connected with this? I'm trying to find peace. I'm trying to find salvation. I'm trying to find, how do I have a relationship? How do I get to know him better? And I'm looking to you because I heard something. And I'm looking to you for a key to having a better and a stronger relationship. But all I hear is venom. And you say that I'm God's man or I'm God's woman. So the persons that you don't know that you affect, because you think that it looks good. It looks good to the to your peers that are around you. It's giving you clout. People love the mess. People enjoy my platform. But there's somebody all the way over there, back behind the columns, looking and seeking and searching. And what you're doing and saying affects them. And what they do, I'm in a better position by not having a relationship with God than having one. If that's the example, where is the example? Where is the example? Eddie Peeler, welcome and good morning. Welcome and good morning, and happy Thanksgiving to you. So what these people begin to feel is that you claim to be of God, but you're not an agent of God. You're an agent of destruction. Because now you have uh, destroyed a desire for someone to get to know God. So we have to be very careful and mindful, not just careful, but mindful of the images that we put out on this thing. Again, what we do on YouTube never dies. It never really goes away. And as much as we try to believe that it's secure, it's not that secure. And you may be dead and gone 50 years. And by then, people will be able to just pull it out of the air and watch everything you've ever done. And then we feel like we're going to heaven anyhow. Well, I'm not in a glorified body. And that's not throwing a reflection on anybody, but that's what a lot of people that's what a lot of people say. It's not just one person that says, well, I'm not in a you're not in a glorified body. I've heard that quite a bit in my life. People saying that you can't judge me because you're not in no glorified. Well, when you get in your glorified body, who's gonna come back and tell you anything in a glorified body? I get a glorified body. I am not stepping back down here to tell you nothing. Because even with Lazarus um and the rich man desired and asked God to send Lazarus to go to his house and warn his brothers not to come to this place of torment. But there was a gulf. And God said, no, they have Moses and the prophets. Well, they would believe it if he went back from the dead and told them. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but if they're not listening to Moses and the prophets, who they have in their hands, I mean, they have access. They right there. I mean, they've been trained in the law. So if they're not listening to the law and Moses, what makes you think they're going to listen to him coming back from the dead? They're not going to listen. But they still have time to get it together. So in a glorified body, ain't nobody coming back to tell anybody, ooh, you need to do right. Look at this body I got. Ooh, I can float through walls. No, ain't nobody coming back to doing that. You're too busy enjoying your freedom. You don't want to be entangled with coming back into this realm. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Again, just sitting back and observing. And again, I try to encourage people, be slow. Um, no, be wise in who you subscribe to. Be wise who you subscribe to. Because so often we subscribe because our friends are subscribing, and we look up and we're mesmerized and hypnotized by people that have an agenda that does not include the well-being of the subscribers, or for themselves for that matter. and thinking again of people taking over your platform, when you've got people in your, in your chat that is sending you information that you are not vetting, that you are not researching, that you're not confirming, you have lost your chat. You have lost control of your platform. Let me say that again. When you allow trolls to feed you information that is not verified, when you cannot recognize a troublemaker, a troll, and you give them power by you accepting the information as truth, you have lost control of your platform. Anybody that is making content has no time to control anyone else's platform. Anybody, any content creator that is working their content and creating content does not have time for plots and conspiracies to take control of other people's platforms. I'm going to say it the third time. Any content creator that is concerned and interested and is creating content has no time, with all the components, with all the ingredients that go into creating, they have no time for conspiracies and plots to take control of anyone else's platform. Because again, if I'm trying to take control of your platform, that means I'm leaving my platform open to be taken over. My focus and my priorities is with my content. However, when you feel someone is trying to take over your platform, it is obvious to me, just observing, that you are not creating content. Because if you're creating content, you're not looking for anyone trying to take over your platform. To me, that's like saying someone is trying to take your fingerprints off your fingers. Picture that. Picture that. Just imagine somebody coming and trying to take your fingerprints off of your hands, off of your fingers. It is impossible to do, especially when you're using your hands on a constant basis. And even if they do catch your hand, how are they going to take your fingerprints off your hand? Same thing, same principle applies. same principle applies. So what you're actually telling me is I've got no content. So I'm open. And in order for me to make content, I'm making content over my own created plots and conspiracies. And in my observation, these 6 month to a year battles with people, beefs back and forth, how redundant does that become after a while? How boring. It's just so much beefing you can do. It's not exciting. Maybe to the newer people on YouTube, and then I'm not, I'm still consider myself new. I'm not even a year as a content creator yet. But how much beefing can you do with the same people beefing all the time? It is this, you can now set your watch by who's going to be beefing with who. You can set your watch. Okay, they're beefing. Okay, they'll be beefing for, all right, we'll give them 30, 45, 60 days. They'll be beefing. And then they'll get into alliance with them and they'll be all right while they're beefing. And then as soon as they stop beefing with them, they're going to beef with the new person that they've aligned themselves with. And it's the same old thing over and over again. I don't have anything to say to so-and-so. I'm not saying anything. However, every time you open your mouth, there is a negative dagger thrown at the individual that you are not beefing with or you're not going to beef with. I don't get it. Oh, yes, I do. Good morning, Angela Johnson. Good morning and blessings to you and happy Thanksgiving. And again, I welcome you. It's good to see you. So it astounds me. No, it doesn't astound me really. It's just a little maybe the right word is perplexing to just watch it all come out, watch it all happen, being able to call it, and then attempting to consider the thought pattern. What are these people thinking? Do they think it's entertainment? I mean, is it like pay-per-view? I want to see you fight so-and-so or beef with so-and-so. So I'll super chat you to beef. I'm sorry, but that's funny to me. That's ridiculous funny. It's ridiculous funny because there is so much content that we haven't touched yet, even in our own individual vein as content creators, the things that we are passionate about. There is so much content out here. So much content out here that brings awareness, brings empowerment to individuals that you can never put out enough content on it. You can never do enough panels on it, enough discussions on it. But some people choose to stay in a rut and go back and forth and forth and back and back and forth and forth and back. So I've been, I've been a little bit like, I'm too old for this. I'm too young for this. Yeah. Misery does love company, but it doesn't have to be my company. Well, but again, DBK, am I really interested in, again, they have beef before. So what, with you bringing that information into the chat, how much is that important in the context of what I'm saying? Is that important? Does that feel or sound important to me? It really isn't, because that's not what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in Phi Babe beefing with Jay Wilson beefing with anybody, because it is old. It is not fresh. It is not new. It is not exciting. It is redundant. It is repetitive. And usually when you repeat and when you become redundant, it means that you are stuck in a low place. It means that you have no value. You have no value. So that's not a news flash to anybody in this particular chat. That's not a news flash. That doesn't make me excited. That doesn't get anybody excited, because those of us, it shows how those people are beefing by the hour. But it's the way it's phrased. But I get what you're saying. But it doesn't excite us to want to watch. It's redundant. Yeah, I understand that. I told DBK, I totally get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. And you can see it a mile away. You can see it a mile away. You can hear it in the words that are, or the undertones and the underwords that, right, Maturish, it's recycling. It is just recycling. And a lot of us are past that. Yes, you're right. It's become very boring. And again, for clicks and views and for numbers, because, after all the hoopla of different situations, basically 2-3 days, the numbers go back down to where everybody else's numbers are. But show me something that's real. Give me something I can feel, something lasting, something that I can apply to my life to make my life better. Then you have a loyal subscriber, a subscriber that, number one, knows that you have my best interest at heart, and therefore I can have your best interest at heart. You know, people work on a system of beefing. Um, that beefing for dollars or beefing for coins phrase. Let's coin a different phrase. Let's coin a different phrase that is better than the coin, because you can only be given a fish once a day. But if you learn to fish, you can have a fish for a lifetime. Did I say that right? It's about quality over quantity. It's about value. It's about value. Let's start making coins off of value, showing people how to be more valuable to themselves, because that's the only click and view that is really going to leave the best legacy, because that legacy will feed an individual for years to come down the line. After you're dead and gone, people will be able to look at that and get the principle from it, apply it to their lives, and live a better life. Yeah, that yeah, but that I was trying to flip it to, if you give me content, um, if you, yeah, I'll get it together. you know, um, and that's what we want to do. My endeavor and my intention and my purpose is to not give a man a fish for a day, but to teach him to fish so that he can eat for a lifetime. When you learn to fish, you can never die. You should never die of starvation, because it's a skill. Teaching you a skill that once implemented takes on a momentum, and it takes on a life of its own. Cheeky, good morning and welcome. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And I'm grateful. I was an experience. I got a notification, and I checked out the notification because the notification was actually a comment on a comment that I had made. And it was very encouraging, because it came like out of the blue. Somebody I didn't even know, that there are times when you as an individual, you give and you give and you give, and sometimes you sit back and wonder, is what I'm giving, what I'm sharing, effective? Is it affecting anybody's life? And this this notification and this comment was such a blessing, because it let me know, and it encouraged me to know that My life is not in vain. I don't need to help the whole world. All I need is for one person's life to become better because I existed. Um, and what I do me. It is who I am. So I'm not looking for anything in return. My greatest joy is when people take the tools and use them and make their lives better. I'm not about, I'm not about, I mean, accolades are good, appreciation is wonderful. But I think the greatest tribute to an individual that has shared something with you is the tribute of you making it, of you succeeding with a tool or a nugget or a piece of information that somebody has given you. Because that person that shared it with you, they they share your success with you because they're part of your success. They're part of um, the motivation. They're part of the incentive. They're part of the progress that you've made because they've shared. And who, DBK, who says they don't want to learn? But who says that they don't want to learn? Are we assuming they don't want to learn by um, their behaviors? Sometimes those behaviors are a smokescreen. So so often, if we don't know them individually, we only speak in generalization. We group everybody together, but we don't know firsthand if we've never communicated to see if they don't want to learn to fish. No, I don't believe that because you don't have to do that. You don't have to be beholden to anyone. Mm-mm. I don't think that you have to be beholden to anyone. What they want is not going to control or should never control your life. Actions we've seen, they don't want to learn by the actions we've seen time and time again. I mean, that's one perspective, but that doesn't mean that that's the right perspective, or that doesn't mean that it's correct. Again, unless you've spoken to every individual, you can't say that they don't want to learn. And see, that's what the school system has done to a lot of individuals. They've grouped them, and that's what racism has done. It has assumed uh, a false idea or false information appearing real. They've made it something that it's not because one person had the idea that they can't learn or that they don't want to learn just by being general because of how one individual feels or one individual's experience. It doesn't mean that they don't want to learn. it the word they but so then are you talking about individual people? Because if you're talking about individual people, do you have that experience with them to say that that person doesn't want to learn? And then if you're using they in general and you're speaking, you would have to have spoken to every individual that behaves that way. Hey, Nanny Poo Love, happy Thanksgiving and welcome. When I'm speaking from an observation of patterns that individuals that I have set back and observed that they do. And I'm not throwing a blanket statement on they don't want to learn. Sometimes being familiar and comfortable in a situation may cause it to look that way. A thought pattern, a stronghold, will cause a person to appear not to want to learn, but that doesn't mean that they don't want to learn. Well, most of my commentary tonight is about different content creators and subscribers. And then, too, everyone has their frame of references and their experiences. So often it is their experiences that have caused them to see things a certain way and behave a certain way. Not that they want to be that individual, but it is comfortable. And then some just refuse to see because it is lucrative. Hey, BMW 330i, welcome and happy Thanksgiving to you on this Thanksgiving morning. Oh my gosh, it's 4 o'clock again. I'm sorry, did I speak to you, Nanny Poo Love? Good morning and welcome and happy Thanksgiving to you. Yeah, same to you, DBK. I appreciate your observations. And well, yeah, I appreciate your contribution to the conversation. I do thank you all for being in the chat and in the live with me, sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it very, very much. And you all have got me smiling. You all have me smiling from ear to ear. My whole heart is smiling because, again, you all minister to me just as much as I minister to you. And I really do appreciate that. I appreciate that. It is 4:11 in the morning. And I know some of you might have been cooking and needed a quick pick me up. So I don't mind. It again, I've had a wonderful time with you all. And Chicky, I get that. I get that. So what has to happen is you have to begin to seek out the content creators that best serve your interests, that are authentic, that are human, because everybody has their faults and their shortcomings, but the intents of the heart is what comes out. It can be disappointing, and then you have to be, or you have to practice not having unreal expectations. And this was something in my life that I had to realize, that in relationships, so often we have unreal expectations of people, expectations that people either cannot live up to or really don't want to be responsible for living up to. And what happens is we get disappointed by them when then they don't live up to our expectations. But if you do not have expectations, you will not be disappointed. And this is why you never hear me say, I'm disappointed, because I'm not. I am not disappointed because I don't have unreal expectation. Does it does it make me aware? Yes. Does it make me sometimes feel some kind of way? Yes, because of what I know people are going to see down the line. And the fact that some people don't see themselves in that moment, or that content creator doesn't see himself as. And this is why I used to say a lot to the content creators, watch your own videos. Make sure you watch your own videos for several reasons. To remind yourself of the lies you told, if you tell lies, but also to keep to keep tabs on whether you are going off the path, whether you're veering off of or stepping away from your purpose, your passion, and the goal that you set when you first came on. Well, for some of them, it becomes it doesn't so much become their job as much as they become dependent upon the coin, and so dependent upon the coin that they will do anything to maintain or to get coins, not their job. Because there are a lot of us that have had jobs that we've enjoyed our jobs, but they become so what in the world? Oh, so you're gonna do all of that? Ooh. I thought ant season was over, but they become so caught up in the coin, in my observation, that they have sold out every goal and every purpose that they had when they first came on. So they're fixated with go get the money, go get the money, go get the money, go, in the words of Sean Bradley. Although he means it positively, but from a negative standpoint, that's what they do. No, if you're in the beef sector, you don't have to beef. It is not mandatory. People will make you feel or make you think or try to manipulate you into believing that that is a reality. That is not a reality. You don't have to beef. You don't, just like being black, you don't have to eat chitlins. Okay, maturists, enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving Day. Thank you so much for being here with me. Maturish is one of my trusted and most appreciated mods. I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. Enjoy. I get what you're saying, Cheeky. I understand that, but it doesn't have to be a situation where you do anything, because you won't do anything on your job. Because if you do anything on your job, you will wind up losing your job. But what happens is a lot of these people sell themselves out for the coin. It is the coin. Oh, Pink Ice, your turkey is ready? Oh, deep fried. All right. Nothing like a good deep fried turkey. But it is a thing where it becomes the principle of the love of money becomes is the root of all evil, right? So it is the love of money that they succumb to. They fall in love with the money, and everything else, they basically let everything else go for that love of money, which means to get that money, I will do anything. I will start beef. I will keep beef going. I will beef. Especially when you notice the people that watch their numbers, when their numbers get to a certain low, they start a beef to bring those numbers up to get those coins. It is a form of selling out. It is a form of falling in love with the money. So now they don't control the platform. The thought of the money to be gained becomes the controller. So you continue to do, you continue to beef. If you're a stripper, no, you don't have to strip to be a stripper. If you're a stripper, you don't have to strip. And it depends upon what you mean by stripping. Because now they call it stripping. But back in the day, it was burlesque. And they didn't take off everything. Now that's a whole nother issue. BMW 330. My question would be, Wow. That comment, that statement, I'll have to think about, um, because I need to recall when I've seen that, and I know I have seen it several times where subscribers have been attacked and accused of things. And sometimes it is because of association, and it is also because of the content creator. Sometimes it is, in what I have observed people that control, or subscribers, if you will, that control, or the trolls that control, or that the content creator has given over control to. There are some content creators that get information, uh, some content creators that get information from subscribers and trolls, and they react upon it. They see you in the chat and they go in. But again, to me, that falls under allowing, giving others permission to run your platform. And I have seen this firsthand. I've been in the bushes on certain platforms where the trolls have passed on information to the content creator, and the content creator goes in without any of that information being substantiated. I'm not here on YouTube to pay attention to or to focus on what content creators, I don't want to say this where it's not clear. Where content creators, I observe content creators to be able to learn from what they do, not to steal their ideas, not to copy their formats. If there's something I see that appeals to me, that I may be able to implement, because again, that's what we all do as content creators. We want to create content and share it so that people are blessed in a multiplicity of ways. Motivated, directed, even to the point of being pushed from one level to another level, to sometimes make not just the subscribers, but other content creators uncomfortable where they are. Because a lot of content creators get comfortable when they have achieved a certain level. I got so involved with that thought until the thought I wanted to make slipped out of my mind, but it'll come back to me. But the bottom line is that when content creators allow the trolls to control by the information they give, true or false information always causes issues with not just the content creators and other content creators, but subscribers. And as far as I'm concerned, subscribers are not unimportant. Subscribers are very important to this industry. They are very important. Good morning, viewers of you. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome, and I'm glad to see you in the chat. But BMW 330i, that sort of bothers me, that you have been attacked. But then, and I'm not asking you to give me specifics, but there has to be more to the statement. There has to be more to the statement as to the reason why you were attacked, whether that attack was felt justified by the content creator, the information, there's a lot of missing parts. Never thought an emoji would cause a fisticuff? Really? Didn't realize the emoji rules. I'm just saying, okay. Again, I don't know about the emoji rules, or I'm not aware of what emoji rules you're talking about. But from what you're saying, that's ludicrous. That is weird. I mean, I'm trying to think. I've never been the only time I've gotten blocked. I've only gotten blocked or someone came at me was after I became a content creator. And only when I got close to 1,000 subscribers did I begin to experience other content creators coming at me. But other than that, and even then, I say what I'm going to say and I move on. I don't, and the reason why I don't go back and forth is because I know me. And in order to, I can't control another person, but I can control myself. And I know what my triggers are. And I know who I am. So I govern myself accordingly so that certain behaviors are not shown or are not exhibited, that even though I'm human. However, there's just some things that we should not allow to happen. And but everybody's not at that point, and I accept everybody as they are. But as one of the things I was saying, I like observing other content creators because, again, there are two things I learned from other content creators, as well as every encounter or every interaction. I love the fact or the ability to learn what to do and what not to do, both from the perspective as a subscriber and a content creator. I've been blocked while offline. Wow. Now I do know how that's done. I do know how that's done. Um, yeah, I've heard of people being able to going into, you may not be online, but going into the chat where you might have left a comment and blocked people that way. But again, through our experiences, we learn, or we should learn, and we should take something away from it. Um, wow. And we should always come from those experiences better than we went in and stronger than we went in. Because again, when we have self control and we exercise that self control and we discern where we give our, see, because time is something that you can never get back. And BMW, sometimes, in a lot of instances, silence is the best kind of fight. However, one must know when to be silent and when to speak. And then when we speak with authority. When boundaries, especially when boundaries have been crossed. And this is why it's very important for us to practice boundaries with ourselves. Boundaries is something that uh, I will not cross. I will not cross my own boundary. And I will not allow you to cross that boundary. But when so often, and I'm not saying you per se, but when we fail to set boundaries, people will run amok and they will disrespect individuals. When you respect yourself and you have boundaries, people understand that. Yeah, that's true. Donna Hill, that's one of the things I've experienced. Um, a couple of days, if I don't even look at YouTube and I come back, it's like all hell has broken loose. And I'm sitting there like, for real? Wow. However, you can basically, from individuals' patterns, you can you can basically tell who's going to be beefing. Because again, in this sector, it seems like the same people beef all the time. Certain times of the month, it's that person's turn, and every now and then, somebody new will be involved in the beef. Every now and then, and usually you'll notice it's when they get close to 1,000 or they get a 1,000 subs and get close to those watch hours. It seems like they're a magnet, but it's all about how you handle it. Yeah. KC, welcome. Haven't seen you in a long time. It's good to see you, and happy Thanksgiving. You know, um, Yeah, but sometimes in order to make a statement, cheeky, sometimes to make a statement, um, sometimes you have to unsubscribe because I'm one that I'm a firm believer that if I don't support what you do, how you do it, um, I'm not just going to turn off the recommendations because I don't even want to have that in my inner sanctum. I don't want that kind of mess to mess up um, my environment. I create my own environment. And even sometimes when even if you turn off the notifications, just the fact that it's still going to be in your feed could cause um, flashbacks, and you begin to relive and perpetuate that same feeling. So, and then again, we have to be careful who we subscribe to and who we support, because in a lot of instances, God is going to hold us responsible. The universe is going to hold us responsible. And there's some things that we think lightly of. We think lightly of, and it's not going to hurt. But in the long run, um, it is perpetuating and it is supporting mess. If you're not about mess, you won't support mess. You won't have mess coming into your home, into the intimacy of your environment, into the comfort and safety and the peace of your environment. So if I'm not supportive of what an individual does, how they do it, I am not going to turn off the notifications, and sort of be a silent supporter. But I am going to withdraw because I don't want that in my spirit. I don't want confusion in my spirit. I don't want confusion in my life. So if you're about confusion, because I know who the author of confusion is, and I know what the author of confusion's purpose is. He comes to kill, steal, and to destroy. And when we take it lightly, we allow him in. We allow him in through the portals that we control. And once he's in, he wreaks havoc. And he does not stop until all is destroyed, stolen, taken, killed. Sometimes you have to rid yourself of it. Have no connection. Yeah, there are professional beefers. Or better yet, they're more organized beefers. Well, that's, yeah, professional. They're organized. They set up the beefs. They do what I call send go. They send people to plant the seed to start the beef, for you to react a certain way. There is an individual on here that um, has mentioned my name several times in their videos. I have nothing to do with the individual. I did at one point, but when I saw the behaviors or the connections, I no longer wanted to be part of that, because that's not the direction I'm going in. And I have every right that if an acquaintance or friendship is not walking the same way I'm walking, they're not walking in their purpose as I'm walking in my purpose, then the support has to be, and the relationship has to be broken off. It's not, I don't feel any hatred for them. However, my name has come up twice in uh, two of their videos. I'm not going to respond. Sometimes people like to bait um, an individual to create an atmosphere for beef. I'm not getting into that because I don't need the coins. I don't, my purpose is not, I mean, let me put it like this. Getting money from YouTube is, I guess you would call it the cherry on the sundae, the cherry on the top of the sundae. And that's only if you like cherries. I have made, and I've said this several times, I've made and I appreciate my relationship with God because, and my ancestors who have guided me into making decisions in my 20s that I'm reaping the benefits of now, where I don't have to work. I don't have to go to a job. I don't have to do manual labor. I get up when I want to. I go to bed when I feel like it. My bills are paid. I have access because at this point in my life, it's like I'm living off of the interest of an inheritance because of the decisions that I made years ago have paid off. And so I am on here to share some of the tools that I have used that other people can pick up the tools, apply them to their lives, and live a less stressful and most enjoyable life, and not wait for pie in the sky by and by when you die, but have the kind of pie you want, have the kind of pie you want made, and you just sit back and enjoy it while it's brought to you. That's what I'm all about. And getting anything above and beyond that from YouTube, it's cool. But as I've said, what I do is the super chats and the cash apps that I get, they go right back into the system to make things better with my presentation, to make my presentation better, to make it more comfortable for me when I come online, to be heard clearly and to be seen without a yellow haze. Because there was a yellow haze going on in here, and I was like, what? But that's what it does. It is a blessing, and I appreciate everything, and I can't say that enough. I appreciate every gift, every cash app, every super chat. It is not required, but it is so very much appreciated, because I'm not here trying to get your money. I'm not trying to scheme to get anything from anybody, but I'm here to give you, to share with you. Thank you, viewers of you. And Donna Hill, I get that too. Sometimes you just have to take a break from people. There's nothing like a good old vacation from people. But in that vacation, it becomes time to reevaluate your position on a lot of matters. Is this a benefit to my life? Is it a benefit to my progress? Is it empowering me to go forward, or is it slowing me down? Because people have a way of um, dumping stuff for people who will carry it. And it winds up deterring you from your goal and from your destiny. It is all about living your destiny in the here and now. It's about realizing your destiny, realizing your dreams, making your dreams come true. And in that sense, there are so often people, some people are not or cannot be and should not be part of that because it is about you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Things that changed. And it was funny because I was out doing some running around um last week and this week. And finally, when I came on, I mean, when I, was my head was sort of spinning because I'm like, what done happened now? And people that said, I would never, are doing exactly what they said they would never do. And so I was curious. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What changed so quickly? And then, too, we have to realize that, which is really funny, the span of time that things happen on Facebook is different than real time. It's different than real time, and it can be confusing. Most of the time, using as an example a soap opera, if you are, if you ever looked at soap operas, which most of us have, so often you can stop watching soap operas for 3 months. And then when you go back to the soap opera, you can basically identify who's who, what's going on, and you can basically catch up with what you haven't seen by a couple of episodes, by the interactions and the storyline. You can catch the storyline. But on YouTube, you go off of YouTube for a couple of days and you come back and relationships have changed, and you're like, what in the world? People are beefing that said they would never beef, and I love this person, and this person has helped me, and a lot of us have seen what individuals when individuals have stepped into the gap for other people and put their head their necks in the chopping block for people, and those people are grateful for the moment. But then somehow, you see that the people have changed. How do you change so quickly from loving an individual who has stuck by you, who has stuck their neck out for you, who have gone to bat for you, and you just totally act as if all that they did was a plot and a ploy, which if my heart isn't in a thing, I don't do a thing. If I'm standing with you, it is from the heart. I'm standing with you, not for anything in return. However, if you say thank you, I'm grateful for the thank you, but I'm not looking for you to give me your firstborn. I don't need that. I have my own firstborn. But I don't get it. Yeah, I've in my short time on here, I have experienced being guilty by association. You know, I was called a couple of things on here. My name was um associated with certain positions, with certain individuals that was not reality. However, I was guilty by just associating or um, supporting um, um, for instance, like the cross support movement. I believe in the cross support movement. I believe in the cross support movement. I I think that all of us content creators have something to that we can share with each other, as well as our subscribers that help each other to grow. And what's wrong with that? Every other community that we complain about, one of the things that we complain about, and I'm saying this from experience, I have watched the Caucasians not get along, but look out for each other. I have seen the Hispanics not get along with each other, but look out for each other. But my people, we tend to, and then I do understand that that it is a um, it is a slave mentality that we have not yet abandoned. We have not let go of a slave mentality that we cannot coexist, we cannot support each other because they are going to, he's going to get more than I got, or he's going to steal what I got. We have a mentality of insecurity unnecessarily. What is for me, I am going to get. No one can stop me from getting what is destined for me to get. I hear people talk about uh, you can block your own blessing. No such reality. You don't block your blessing. You make a conscious choice not to receive your blessing by being preoccupied by unnecessary things that take you from being receptive. You can not be in the place by choice not to receive your blessing. But you can't stop your blessing, because what God has promised, He will fulfill His part of the bargain. He is a promise keeper. He is a promise keeper. But we willfully become preoccupied with other things that we don't recognize and receive the blessing when it comes. It is just like when the mail service delivers your mail. Whether you are home or not, the mail is going to be delivered. It's going to get to your house, whether you're there to receive it or not. If you're not there, when you get back to the place to receive it, the mail is going to be there. So when you get back to the place where your blessing, where you were supposed to get your blessing, when you get back into alignment, when you come back to the knowledge, your blessing is there. And all you have to do is receive it. So no one can stop your blessing. You can't even stop your blessing, because what God has promised, He will bring it to pass, whether you are in the place to receive it or not. At that point, it is your responsibility to be where you get the promises. We so often hear a lot of people say a lot of things that is not sound. It's not sound. It's not built on a sure foundation. It is based upon manipulation and control. Oh, you can block your blessing. Even if I could block my blessing, that doesn't mean you're going to get it. And people tend to say that to try to trick you out of your birthright. That's what people have a tendency to do if you allow them to. But when you understand that not even the devil in hell can keep you from getting your blessing, but you can truly turn it over to him. And that's another part of the thinking process that we have. We don't appreciate and we're not grateful for the blessing, so we give it away, looking at it as it is worthless. We don't open the envelope. We look at the outside the envelope and say, oh, that's junk. And there went your blessing. You threw it away, and now somebody else picked it up and they're blessed. You had it, but you gave it no value. Listen, every individual in this chat is valuable. God has placed value in you. Otherwise, guess what? You wouldn't be. You have a purpose. You have a destiny. You are a living example of the glory and the wonders of God, the Creator. And so often we live beneath our privilege because we feel that having a relationship is a strain. Having a relationship binds us. It does not bind you, it empowers you, it frees you. It does not mean that you cannot do. It doesn't mean that you cannot have joy, that you cannot enjoy your life. Hey, Miss Ashley, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. It means that having that relationship means that I don't only live, but I live in abundance. It means that I enjoy more of life. And I really wish so often that, yeah, and I said it earlier that, you can open up people's head and just put it in and they get the realization and the understanding of it. But I do understand because for so many years, coming up the way that I came up, it was always taught that, oh, when you get saved, you don't do this, you don't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, in my time, ooh, that's sort of like funny. In my time, you couldn't go to the movies because that was sinful. You dare not go to the club because you backslid. Um, you didn't associate with people that did it, that went to the movies, that smoked and drank, because uh, if you do, you're more likely to be pulled out of your relationship with God, which was all nonsense. So here you are as a teenager living like an 80 or 90-year-old person. Living in a vacuum. And then I learned that meantime, the people that were preaching this stuff had lived. They had enjoyed their youth. They did what they telling you not to do. So I began to search for myself. I needed to understand for myself. And so I began to research and study, and I found out that that's not the will of God. How can God's will be that I prosper and be in good health as my soul prospers? And you're preaching to me that being close to God means having nothing. That does not add up. It does not click. It does not make sense. He said he came that I might have life and have it more abundantly. Abundant life is not living in a vacuum. Abundant life is not, you can't do this, and if you do this, God is not pleased with your life. And this is where individual relationship and intimate relationship come into play. Because it is God's desire to have an intimate, close relationship with you that's based upon how he made you. How my relationship with God is has nothing to do with your relationship with him. Nothing whatsoever. Because the requirements for my relationship is different from the requirements for your relationship. However, there are principles. There are principles to relating to him the way he has required us to relate. And once we begin that relationship, he makes himself known to us and what his requirements for us are. And I always say this, and I used to say this preaching in churches. When you please God, he makes you satisfied. When God is made happy with your life and your relationship with him, he makes you satisfied. There is nothing he will withhold from you. He will grant every desire that you could ever imagine. He's able to do abundantly above all that you can think, which means imagine, or ask. Anything that you can imagine, God will supersede it. And, the phrase, he will blow your mind. What you desire becomes so much better. What you imagine, he makes it so much better, so much more fulfilling. And he will cause it to bless you for the rest of your life. It will never end. It will perpetuate itself because you please him. For me, it's been a reality. Well, beloveds, I have been on here according to this time stamp 2 hours and 45 minutes. That means it should be oh my gosh, it's 5:10. It is 5:10 in the morning, and I have 41 individuals in this chat. I am truly blessed, and I appreciate every last one of you being here. Statement you made, Cheeky, you said, I think you meant to say, so you can't block your blessing. You cannot block your blessing. But if you wander off, if you're not in the place to receive it, you won't get it. But in other words, it is not God's fault that you don't get your blessing. It is yours. You have wandered off, become occupied with something else, and not recognize the fact that you have the blessing. Anything, and here's another thing, this really gets my goat, and then I'm gonna get off of here. When I hear people say God is getting ready to bless you, I think I'm just gonna say it like I feel it. Hi, Shaquilla Dixon. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. And same to you. People have and I've heard this I've heard a lot of preachers say this, a lot of evangelists and prophets. God is getting ready to bless you. I would not be in relationship with a God that's getting ready to do anything. And when I say this, imagine a God that doesn't sleep and doesn't slumber, all powerful. He has made promises that it is his pleasure to bring to pass for those that love him. Why would he be getting ready to do anything? Whatever God is going to do, it is already done. God has already done everything that we need done. It is incumbent upon us to receive it and believe it and act upon what he said he's already done. It was done before the foundation of the world. So there's no need for God to get ready to do anything. God is getting ready to heal your body. No, he's not getting ready to. Scripture says, with his stripes, we were healed. So if we were healed, were speaks of past tense. So if we serve a God that changes not, and he's the same every day, if we were healed, that means we are healed where we are right now. And we will be healed in the future because it is already done. So he doesn't have to get ready. He doesn't have to wake up, brush his teeth, take a shower to bless you. It's already done. It is incumbent upon us to, at this point, understand that it's already done and receive it. Open ourselves up to receive the manifestation of what he has already done. Chiki, you said can, but I thought you meant can't. But no, we cannot block our blessing. There's no such thing as we blocking our blessing. At that point, you will have to explain to me how you can block your blessing so that I can understand, because only being real, good morning and happy Thanksgiving. You would have to explain that I may understand how you classify us blocking our blessing. Okay, no, it's no issue. Miss Harrell, Etta Harrell, good morning and God bless you and happy Thanksgiving to you. And you're always welcome, and it's always good to see you, Miss Etta. Well, okay, Chiki, I hope that some of them I have answered to a greater understanding. You know, again, we have been taught to believe that God is in a box. Um, if you will, a box of beliefs, and that he can only operate within, for us, in this particular, or in these particular ways, and outside of that, or better yet, that God is limited. Okay, we're taught to believe that God is limited in our lives, but he's not limited as being the creator, which is a contradiction and a paradox. And yes, it becomes confusing, because it is part of the slave mentality, the uh, preachers that preached, that gave us this religion, that um, manipulated it, that told us it was a sin, made us believe it was a sin not to serve your masters, that God was pleased when you served your masters as slaves. And it has been perpetuated, even though we're no longer in slavery, so to speak. There, excuse me, as if there is one Bible and one doctrine for people who are non-black, and there's this limited gospel, there's this limited theology with or for black people. But again, God is not divided, and God is no respecter of persons. In other words, whoever believes and applies the principles will work for them. So we have to stretch out of us and break out of what we have been taught as limited belief, and push past that and understand that God is not limited. He's not in a box. He's so much more, and so much fulfilling and filling than in a box. He cannot fit in a box of beliefs or a manipulated theology. No, the information from the Bible actually started in Africa. So yeah, a lot of that, and don't really want to get into that because that's a real deep conversation. Um, there are still hieroglyphics on the walls of caves in Africa that the Bible that we now know was taken from. And as time has gone on and the Bible has been translated, it has also been manipulated. Because at one point, only the priests had Bibles, and whatever the priest said, the Bible said, was law. And you confessed your sins to the priests, and they would absolve you for payment. And there came a conflict when the Bible began to be printed for everybody. So now people were able to read it and understand it for themselves. However, when we came upon slavery, the actual information that the Bible holds came from Africa and again was manipulated and force fed, if you will, um, for a belief system that would keep the slaves under subjection. And we still carry that in um, so many of the Black communities and um, Black churches, even today. The contradictions and the paradoxes. Is that a question or a statement? Cheeky, the Bible, that means the Bible is fiction. I wouldn't say it is completely fiction. I would venture to say that there are some truths, but that's why it takes a lot of study. It takes, I'm not going to say a lot, it takes study and research to really get a good gist of. Again, there are some words in the Bible, and I got in trouble one time in a Bible study in a church I fellowship with because they made a statement. And my question was, in the translation, in translating the Bible from the original language, could there actually have been words that the English language did not have that was adequate to express what was being expressed in the original language? And so a word that was in the English language that was almost considered adequate. Now, in that particular case, that means that that one word could change the entire or shift the entire meaning of that particular verse. And I got Patricia Ellington, good morning and welcome. Oh yeah, I'm glad I can go to God for myself and have a conversation between him and me. And it is important. It is important. But with what I have learned, the Bible can be confining and confusing because of the contradictions and paradoxes, which take an in-depth study and research to actually, especially with the understanding the original language and understanding it in its original language makes it even more powerful because the words that could not be translated, other words are not substituted in their place to try to. And then again, with some of the translation, some of it was for manipulation and control purposes. So, beloveds, I have been on here. Oh my goodness. I have never done a 3-hour live. I have never done a 2-hour live. But tonight, I was looking to see if the sun was coming up yet. I've been on here for about 3 hours, which means I have not been to sleep. But I appreciate everybody that came in. I appreciate everybody that just came in. And Cheeky, be encouraged. Be encouraged. Um, yes, again, I appreciate everybody that has come in, and I do wish, and more so, I decree a blessed Thanksgiving um, on everyone's life. Okay, Patricia Ellington. All right. Um, and I do pray that I've been a blessing. Again, I, wanted to check out the new things that I've put into place, and so far it looks pretty good. And again, I thank you for your support, for your subscribership, and for those of you that not subscribed, I thank you for spending time with me on this Thanksgiving Day. And for those of you that were cooking during the process, I hope I gave you strength to get it done, hanging out with you and encouraging you. I encourage you all to, yeah, I encourage you all to pursue your dreams, your destiny, and a personal relationship with the Creator, with God, with Yahweh, because that is His name. His name is Yahweh. Um, I encourage you. Um, I encourage you, and I assure you that a true, real, intimate relationship with God is a lot more than what they told you in the old time church and Sunday school. It's a lot better um, when you really get to know Him. So much freedom and so much of pie now rather than in the sky when you die. I appreciate you too, Patricia Ellington and Cheeky. Um, yes, God does have a name. Yes, He does. As a matter of fact, He has several names. Um, Yahweh is one of the names, and I said this before, and I like to share this with people. When you read the Bible, you notice that a lot of the gods of the Egyptians, they called them by name in the Bible. They called them, they all had names, and their names are in the Bible. However, we were never taught the name of God. And when you just say God, every God, every lesser God also hears you, because they just hear God. They don't hear a specific name. So they all are going to um, say, huh? But when you call our God, our true and living God, by His name, any other God that would try to block the progress of your communication has to take a back seat. They cannot block or stop the progress of your communication with God because they don't have the power. Thank you, BMW 330. I appreciate that. So when you call him Yahweh, it gets his attention specifically. And he knows that by your calling his name, that you have a relationship with him or you want to have one with him. So he's attentive. He's attentive. He comes to see about you. He comes to see about you. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm really going to see, because right now I sound like a preacher, like I'm like I'm actually in the church. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna say this, and then we're going home. I'm gonna say this, and then um mm, yeah, Yahweh is a distinctive name for the God that we serve, and it lets him know that you have a relationship, you know who he is, and that you desire to get closer to him. And what he does is um, he's already everywhere at the same time. So you're giving him reverence when you call him by name, and you have chose him. You have chose him as your God, as your personal savior, as your refuge. And he responds. He responds. So, as usual, when I end the live, you're welcome, Eddie Peeler. Oh, thank you. Only being real. I always end my lives with a decree. And the reason why I do that is because I learned that the best way to keep the commandments of God, and please understand, there are more than 10 commandments. There are many more commandments than the 10 commandments that we were taught. There's more commandments. However, when Yeshua was on earth, he said he's not changing the commands. But what he said he wanted to do, he wanted to make it easy for us to keep all the commandments. And he said, when you love God, when you love yourself, and when you love your fellow man, and authentically love them, you have kept all the commandments, because every commandment of God is built upon love. And so when you hear me say that I decree and declare love unto you, much love unto you, more love than you can imagine, more love than your heart can feel, and much more love than your hands can hold, it is because I am declaring and I am pouring love into you so that your life can be more abundant. And so, because God is love, Yahweh is love, and love is Yahweh. And so, when you love, you keep his commandments. So, I decree that to you. And I also decree and declare that we're reminded not just to be thankful on the fourth Thursday of every November, but we make thank you part of our everyday life. And I am going to get back to doing my thank you Thursdays. Thank you. Only being real. Yeah, because having a table full of food and not having any food for thought. or food for your spirit is unbalanced. So you need balance in your spirit and balance in your natural body. So I declare love unto you. And I was saying I'm gonna get back to my thank you Thursdays, because thank you is such an awesome and powerful device, if you will, or tool, powerful tool that will open doors and cause people um, to find favor in you and to bless you above what they would, or do things for you, or open doors that people wouldn't ordinarily open, just by adapting a thank you consciousness. Okay, so I'm going to say again, everyone enjoy your Thanksgiving, and tell somebody thank you today. Yeah, tell somebody thank you. But before you tell somebody else thank you, tell yourself thank you. Thank you because you relied on Yahweh. You allowed yourself to allow Yahweh to get you to this point. So I thank God, and then I thank me, and I thank God for all the ways that He's made. So again, not to sound repetitive, but everyone, enjoy your Thanksgiving and continue to be blessed. I was going to say good night, but good morning, everyone.